Greetings, pawns, poppers, and programs, and here we are once again for another playtest session of the FARAD System, 4th Alpha. And these are the grim adventures of Elidon, Kael Voss, and Oppenheimer. Today, one of our players is unable to make the session, but hopefully they'll be able to be back next time that we have one, and we will continue on presently with both Elidon and Oppenheimer, played by Wolfie and Dolkara respectively. And where we last left off, we had Elidon off away from Thornton, about a 2 days march with a bunch of work-release prisoners from the nearest prison who were needing to be escorted in order to allow the marks that would keep them from passing out, needed them to stay within a mile distance from one of the G.R.I.M agents in order to remain conscious. And this information had previously been given to the prisoners, but one of them asked why they didn't just simply attack or flee, with only one person, leading them. And some of the fellow prisoners basically smacked them up the backside of their head and re-explained what had already been told about that. Meanwhile, Oppenheimer was communicating with the Grafton branch of G.R.I.M and their handler, and how they're dealing with their own issues in that city, and how no other agents were able to be spared, but the prisoners would be, and that Oppenheimer and Elidon were given essentially carte blanche to protect the communities of Thornton and Siggins Hollow by any means necessary to stop the spread of the headless ones that had started appearing in the area. They're offered extra pay to do shifts closer to work for posts and defenses, for different work-release prisoners already, and deputizing them and some of the citizens of the area, and to give NDAs and hire part-time the mortuary director who would be retiring until a more suitable medical aide could be hired to work for Oppenheimer and their group. And that is where we left off last, with Kael Voss being presently otherwise occupied with a civilian who apparently had been infested with one or more of the headless one larvae gestating in their gut. And watching the containment cell that had been made and ensuring that neither they left nor any other civilians would get close and interfere with keeping them contained in case the headless ones ate their way out too quickly for any medical aid to be offered, if any could be found in time. So Kael Voss, thus Tank, will be tied up regardless, and we jump back over to the two of you. And who would like to start first?
Oppenheimer, because I think Elidon's just surveying and keeping eyes open, protecting the prisoners.
Okay. Oppenheimer?
What
I
say
am.
you?
What?
What say you, Open? What are you doing?
Drinking, making detection posts, and well, we found someone who's in a cell, so I guess reloading ammunition. Just some variety of that, unless there's something I was doing that I forgot.
Pretty much you had done a lot of talking with the Grafton branch and verifying what was going on with Kael Voss regarding the captive. And
And I haven't gotten word on doctor showing up yet.
Well, yeah, you were told that, getting anybody would take time, and without having telephone or internet to be able to send messages, your contact to Grafton is the fastest anybody has, but that the mortuary doctor would at least put out a request by mail, but it would take time for that to go out, and could help in the meantime, but it would be unfortunately part-time, just because he was training in his replacement to run the funeral home, and then was intending to retire, but clearly sees that you're needing some assistance temporarily, at least.
Because part of the reason I'm trying to find a live-in is then I can silence them if there's a problem. No, I'm not explaining that to people, but I'm just saying I really need a live-in because I need a doctor to be able to dissect problem people, and I don't need that getting out.
Yeah, and with how G.R.I.M works, there's enough doctors that might assume that that's the kind of thing that you'd be needing. Even though G.R.I.M is very well appreciated by the Appalachian Regional Council and citizens in the area, there's still, even with the clampdown of information, enough instances where G.R.I.M has dealt with problems that would be much larger without their intervention, but it's not always the best publicity if something does even get found out. Usually they prevent something if they find out about it around in time, or are called in to clean up something, just because there's so much land to cover and so many potential areas that ruins lay undiscovered until somebody came across them.
Yeah, so I'm just making sure no problems are happening on the farm. I am making more detection posts. I'm making ammunition, grenades, cooking for my people, and overall, I'm just running the farm in my own chaotic way.
Okay. Well, as you are directing people on making the posts and everything else, and ensuring they get put out into place where they belong, let's have you go ahead and make a check for that. and we'll just see how well that goes, or if you end up needing to spend a bit of time ensuring mistakes don't end up creating a weak link in the warning system and barrier that you're trying to create.
Okay. So... See, I have 3 in crafting, so I want to use another skill to help with this.
Well, if you aren't using a wager die, then you'd only be able to use 2 from that 3 with just the base 2d10. So it's dependent
my thought
on...
is, if they're meant to be like a certain distance from each other, would that be like maybe navigation or engineering?
Either of those could apply. As I said, it's just a matter of if you're aiming to get progress on a specific skill, or if you're aiming to use a wager die to actually gain a higher number and advantage on more dice being rolled. Because if you're not rolling more dice, then it's going to balance out the same.
Don't worry. Same here. Thankfully, it's all like right here next to me, but I was like, oh yeah, I need that out. Whoopsies.
I'll just use my phone's dice roller while I look for my dice.
Okay.
3 dice. No, I only roll 2 dice because it's up to 2d10. Great.
Well, if you're doing it at advantage, you do 40-10 and take the 2 highest.
In that case, I'll just throw on accuracy and crafting for the sake of time.
Okay.
D10. 10, 8, 7, 4. So that's
Okay,
a luck
that's
dice.
+1 luck.
And there's an 18 for for straight success.
Right. And that will be +1 progress on accuracy and crafting. And +1 progress on interaction. Because you're interacting with other civilians and also with the layout, which is sort of a puzzle sort of situation. So, that will deal with a chunk of time as you're organizing that before it becomes too dark for people to easily work and potentially make mistakes, as well as the need to have watch and stay vigilant over the possibilities of anything happening while others are needing rest. With that, we will have you go ahead and decide, are you going to take a first watch, second watch, or just sleep through and trust it to someone else?
When has the best lighting? Because I plan on using my rifle, sitting up high, and maybe patrolling on my horse, but I want to make sure with my not keen vision at nighttime.
It would be
That-
third.
Third.
Well,
Third.
Third would be the most, because the sunrise would be starting about halfway into it.
Then I'll take third. I'll let probably Shield. He can handle the whole one of the shifts. Make sure I, post someone on the cage.
Okay.
Then
Well, then you
someone else. Yeah.
can go ahead and make 2 recovery checks, and we'll see if you have any of your penalties drop. You currently have 1 wound, 1 fixation, and 1 mark.
Okay, and there's just a straight roll on those again.
In this particular case, yes, you don't have anything that would be giving you more advantage on it than just getting enough sleep. So.
I got a 10 and a 1, so let's see. I'll throw on a luck dice on that. That is 6 on the luck dice, so 10, 1, 6, 16.
Okay. That would be a straight success for your first, which means that you're able to take off either a fixation or a wound. Which would you prefer to take off on this rest?
Wound, I guess.
Alright. And then go ahead and make your second check.
Uh, 6, 2, and I'm going to also grab a couple luck dice for that too. And that is a 6 and a 5 on the luck dice. So 8 plus 11, 9, right? 8, 6, 2, 6 makes 8. 8 plus 6, 14. 14 plus 5, 19.
Okay, so that's a straight success. You will also be able to remove the fixation then. So I will clear that on the overlay. You just have 1 mark, which I won't be able to remove this time, but good.
Okay, hey, as long as I got my problems out of the way, I'm good.
Oh. Certainly better than had been. And as you are resting and recovering, we wind time back and shift across time and space over to Elidon. As you are leading the prisoners onward back toward Thornton, and let's see how well that you do as you are trying to get them back, following the road and other route options that you have along the way, considering that they are unfortunately limited to ground travel while you can fly up and check ahead.
Yes. Well, although flying, Elidon's not going too high up. Mainly to help keep presence around them.
Yeah, you do have to stay within a mile of them, but with the exception of that, you have a bit of leeway to maneuver.
Are we deeper into the woods, or are we closer to the highway?
Well, they are moving along the highway unless you're taking them off of it, just simply because it is a cleared route versus not knowing what necessarily may or may not be in the way obstacle-wise otherwise. It is
I remember.
Varying height, possibility of small cliffs, valleys, creeks, old walls, and things of that sort that could be there. As you flew up and fast enough that you would have spotted some things here and there, but the main thing was just getting that wind that gave you a good burst of speed ahead.
I guess just following the same route. Keep going.
Okay. So what skill would you like to roll on the check to be organizing the round?
Good question. Um, I guess it would just be observation.
Okay. That can work. You can use that to be able to see the road ahead, to get them to avoid some obstacles, as well as keep them from wandering too far and passing out, causing backtracking and waste time. So go ahead and roll that. So with however many ranks you have in it, you should have advantage.
It's 1, so that's 3 die. That's not the right number for the books. Okay. That's a 8, 5, and a 3.
Okay.
No.
So it'd be success at cost. With that, their cost is just simply going to be that there's a very brief bit where you do end up having to backtrack and lose about.
If it is that one who opened his mouth, knocking the frick out, fair.
But you end up having to backtrack about half an hour and then move forward again half an hour, wasting an hour in total, specifically because of the one who had been explained to twice now, finally finding out for himself that no, it wasn't just, lies to keep them in line.
Fair. Third time, I was gonna leave him there.
Nobody tell Oppenheimer about this guy's attitude. They will not go.
Oh. Don't worry. I'm not for sure if Elidon would or wouldn't right now. Elidon's just on the one-track mind. Yeah, that's all Elidon really does, is just... it's going forward, looks down, goes, fuck! Where?
Yeah.
Backtracks, finds the guy. Fucking slaps him around a couple times, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, some of the other prisoners are quick to mention it when they notice that he's finally disappeared, hence why it didn't go longer than that, but it is a minor cost. Considering you ended up getting a day ahead with that wind giving you a little boost, that's helps offset it, but it is still an annoyance for you and the prisoners who have to rouse them once they find them.
I think Eldon would finally just put them closer to the front and be like, fucking watch him do better.
Okay. So, you are able to travel a good length of time without having any further delays or interruptions. However, as you eventually come to the point where the sun is starting to set, some of the prisoners who aren't little shits end up bringing up that it's going to be difficult for them, at least, because they don't know how well you can see at night or not, to continue traveling, not only from how long that they've already been walking with the warden who had, or no, the sheriff who had ridden on horse before, but also with the fact that they won't be able to see anything until it gets brighter out. So they're just simply asking when and where they're going to bed down and set up camp, more or less. They all have essentially small bags, and a couple of them have some larger bags, pretty much like 3-person tent every 3rd prisoner, just so that they have something in case of weather, but not given any real luxuries or anything to that effect. They're, not on a retreat.
Great. I mean, yeah, once... I think after, like, the second time of being asked when, Elidon would finally just be like, make camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you make them walk at least far enough that you get asked a second time. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
you're able to at least make up that difference from that hour backtrack. So
I feel like it was only an hour after the first one.
well, it was, about 10 minutes for somebody to notice that they had disappeared, and then double checking everybody quickly, and then backtracking, and then traveling forward again. So that did.
I mean, I feel like it would be an hour before they were like, for the second time, to be like, so can we sleep? Please?
Yeah, some of them are getting a little tired, except for the one who had been rendered unconscious, because, they're
He is
already...
on first watch.
They're already not going to say anything, because all the other prisoners are glaring daggers and...
They're glaring. I was going to say, yeah, they're glaring. They're like, he's like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
If one of you are punished, all of you are punished.
No, okay, Elidon's not that mean.
Sort of, in a way, but not directly.
Not too meanly. It was just making up that 1 hour after that.
Okay.
Well, since he got
So-
to sleep, he gets to stay up a little bit longer.
With that, you have the option of having them camp on the highway, just off of it, or further away, possibility of going into what would have been a ditch along one of the highway routes, or even further away so that it's not as obvious from the road, should anybody be traveling on it. So, where are you intending for them to set up?
I'd have to say second option, just off the highway.
Okay. And are you setting a watch, or just
Yes.
having them do the watch?
No, Elidon will set a watch. Definitely having Mr. fucking can't figure out what's going on many times. He's definitely taking first watch. Probably choose whoever was watching him from the first round, or from the first few times, is also being on watch for the first watch, because fuck them. Fucking did this shit. Someone else, two other ones would be at random for the second shift, but then 2 of them, and then Elidon will be for the third shift.
Okay. Alright, so you will have +1 progress for your observation and +1 progress for your traversal, since it mostly had to do with traversal back and forth with the previous check. And you will have the possibility of getting 2 recovery checks in. Let's just check something real quick. That's the first, since you put 2 people onto it. That's the second. Alright. And lastly, before I have you do the recovery checks, where are you resting while others are on watch?
Are there trees on the side of the road, or is it further in?
There are trees here and there in different places. Even with it being a while since the highways were heavily used, there would have been, smaller trees that have now grown into larger ones. Since it's been about, 80 years since I had any serious travel. So yeah, plenty of trees to utilize.
Elidon would be on a tree that's as close enough to the group as they can get. Trying to make sure that they're not straying too far from them so that no one's watching them, but like they'll know that Elidon is there.
You do have a habit of just like disappearing and watching people.
Well, to be fair, Elidon is still an assassin and he's using said skills, so it's like they know that Elidon's there, but if someone were to walk up, they wouldn't see Elidon until the last second type deal.
Okay.
It will be the last second.
Exactly. See? It works out.
All right. Well, with that, we'll have you roll your 2 recovery checks.
These are just straight D10s, correct?
Straight 2d10s, unless you've got something you feel that would help with it.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, that's a 10 and a 4.
Okay, well that would be a success at cost if you'd like to use that, or you could use any of your wager die to increase it.
I did just gain a luck die. You know what? Fuck it, let's use your luck die. Yeah, that failed epically. That's a 1. That's another 1 for the jinx pile.
Okay. Well, that would be your first check, which would be success at cost, which would remove a full penalty but apply a mark. However, in this particular case, you have 2 marks, so essentially you could clear both marks and keep your fixation, leaving only the 1 penalty to still clear.
I mean, it would be take a mark off, but I'd gain the mark again anyway, so...
Yeah, essentially.
2 marks. Alrighty. Next one. Ah! Well, that one was shittier. That's a 5 and a 3.
Alright, anything else you'd like to roll with that?
I'm gonna roll 2 luck die. Hopefully. Yeah. Well. Okay, that's a 6 and a 1. Guys, I'm doing great.
Okay.
You got this. I have faith in you.
Someone does at least.
Okay, so what was your total before the additional 7?
5 and a 3.
Okay, so 15. So that would be a success at cost. Would you like to add anything else to it or not? You're just 1 away from clearing the fixation entirely.
Ah, what a way! Alright, well, in that case, I'll use another luck die.
Okay.
You won't hurt me, will you, dice? Nope, you did great. Alright, that's a 2.
Okay. Well, at least you didn't gain another jinx from it. But you cleared all marks and fixation.
Woo!
Alright. And when you wake up for your shift on watch, you are able to find that the one who had tried wandering off before is presently tied up around the base of the tree.
I love
And
you guys. I love them.
You are able to find out that they had, evidently when their shift was done, gone to the tent that they were supposed to go to sleep in, waited a short bit, then tried to slip out and attempt to climb the tree with rope, intending to gag you, tie you up, and walk off with you. Without that working, as the other prisoners were not going to deal with any of their nonsense, and ensured that they weren't going to mess with anything. They did not get the best sleep, but considering that at least they were kept from any sort of danger and underneath the tree, there was no problem, as there had been a light rain, not enough to get you wet with all the branches and such that were on top, or anybody else, since they were all under tents, with the exception of the 2 who had been on watch, who at the very least were able to make a rudimentary cover while they were on watch. Not really having umbrellas or anything of that sort, but not getting soaked to the bone. They did end up scaring off just some animals in the night, not having good night vision or any real torches or anything like that. All they could simply tell is just reflection of moonlight in the eyes of something coming close. They couldn't tell if it was a fox or a raccoon or a possum or whatever. Just whatever it was able to be scared off easily enough during their second watch, leaving you with the 3rd.
Elidon loves these guys. They are now their new best friends. At least they're mine. As for this one, I can probably make it elsewhere. Elidon is going to, during their watch, untie this dumbass. But as they do, they like hold them still and then tie the rope around their hands tight enough to where it's on them but not tight enough to like cut circulation.
Haven't I left you a grenade before?
Yeah, totally. But I'm not leaving this one with a fucking grenade. So no, because once it gets like once it's time to start getting everyone ready, Elidon is not only going to start flying, but they're holding the other end of that rope, so that fucker's not moving. He is stuck. Elidon may not know what happened over the night, but they are irritated at the least, for sure, for whatever did happen. Unless the guys tell them what happened, Elidon doesn't know.
Oh no, they will tell you when you take over your watch. They pretty much want you and others to know and keep an eye on the little shit, since they've, once is saying something stupid after being told, now wandered off, and now tried this. It's like, you've had 2 marks against you at this point. They're not to the point of, let's just, bury this guy, because then they would be in violation of their work release program and not have the chance of, getting set free eventually.
No, it's fair. Yeah, like I said, Elidon just, as soon as they're all ready to go, the Elidon is holding this man by the fucking end of the other rope and just keeping watch.
Okay. Well, before you make sure everybody is up in the morning, you have them on the rope and are still on your watch itself. So let's have you go ahead and make a check to see if you spot anything that happens in the late night, early morning hours.
I'm using observation again. What's that was a shit roll. 2, 2, and an 8.
Okay. So that would be +1 progress observation and +1 progress interaction. And you do see something in the distance at one point that it starts heading in your general direction. You can see the moonlight reflecting off of what appears to be a quite large buck, but as the wind shifts, it catches scent of the encampment and wanders off in a different direction instead of coming close enough to be worth the effort of pursuit.
So just make sure a buck came up, smelled us, and said, "Never mind, deuces."
Essentially, yes. Had you observed it earlier with a better check, you would have possibly been able to snag it as additional provisions. So, with that, everybody is able to wake up and see that the little shit is on a leash and basically ensured that they aren't going to wander off again. Quite a few joking comments about that passed around before everybody is getting ready by eating some rations and getting started on their way again.
I love this group so much.
I'm just waiting for y'all to get there when someone in that group goes, "Hey, guess what?"
Oh no, I imagine that by the time I show up and this little shit is still tied the way I have him, you're definitely gonna see that and be like, "So this one's the dumbass."
This one's my new best friend.
and I will just hand him to you. Have fun. But
All
until then,
right. So, we will switch back to Oppenheimer as your group is going to start making progress toward Thornton again. You have 1 day to get there if you have no further delays. So you would more or less either arrive before watch or arrive in the morning after having a watch, depending on how things will go. But we will see how stuff is going for Oppenheimer. Awake once more with all of the work release convicts that you have at the barn and general area, and all the civilians that are working, and Kael Voss and some of them rotating to keep an eye on the infested civilian that is in the cell for now.
Well, I do my normal wake up, drink, grab some meat, start barbecuing while I give everyone a rundown of the expectation of the day. We achieved this much yesterday. The thing that my boss makes me do so I at least sound official. And see if there's any complaints, concerns, things I have to pretend to care about. And yes, I plan on checking on Nate, but first I have to get through the initial, hello, good morning, everyone. Today's expectation is this, while I'm grilling hot dogs and burgers and the sort.
Okay. So,
I ain't got funding to get a chef.
what are you talking about? You are the chef.
Yeah, I hunted this meat myself, I should know.
you are able at
Preserved
least
free.
you are able at least to verify that during your sleep and watch that the civilian in captivity is still at least alive. So they didn't burst forth yet. And you will have to make the rounds to check along the perimeter of the highway and in Thornton and Siggins Hollow to see if anything has happened in the night, just because it's too widespread an area to see just from where you're at. But at least nobody at, in, or near the barn is screaming or otherwise seeming to be engaged in combat. So that is at least working in your favor for now.
Fair.
So go ahead and make a check on the food that you are cooking up.
I will use accuracy as well to gauge the right point to meat is done on top of my cooking, because it's your own cooking. Let's see what I got.
So accuracy in this particular case wouldn't help because it's with a ranged action specifically.
Oh, okay.
You do have other skills that might potentially be suitable, or just simply trying to gain progress in cooking, for example, if you chose to do that.
I'll make progress in cooking then.
Okay, so we'll focus on that.
That is a 5 and a 5. That is 10. I think I want to spend and luck dice. Well, no. Not reasonable enough to try and get straight. 5 and 5.
Okay. So
I've
with
never
that,
said I was a
that's
good cook.
Success at cost. So that will give you +1 progress on cooking. And another +1 on interaction.
I keep
And,
forgetting the interaction parts.
well, it varies depending on the particular skill that you're using, but in this particular case, that would be the most suitable attribute, I should say. But more or less, people eat it. It is healthy enough. It's comment from a couple of them on, could use a little bit of salt and pepper that they add on afterward. Slightly on the well done side rather than more tender, so it's a little chewy. But it's serviceable. It's not made from somebody who particularly cooks often for others. You just know it's cooked enough that it's safe to eat.
It's called char grilled.
Yes, which should be cooked medium rare with charring on the edges, not cooked thoroughly enough inside that it's gray.
That's an irrelevant point, sir.
As somebody who specifically prefers medium well, it's not. But when you're dealing with survival over a culinary experience, it's not a significant hit to ego that at least nobody is getting sick or unable to eat.
Like my character does this in the morning unless someone else wants to cook, just because I do need to care about them, and I'm going to make sure they are fed properly.
You suck at cooking. That's what I heard.
Hey, I don't suck at cooking because no one's gotten food poisoning yet. Otherwise, yeah, just after I get through the morning meeting of, alright, do your job, you're over here, you're over there, blah, blah, blah. Once everyone's dealt with, just kind of crawl up to Elidon's room, because I know that's where Tweaker is. Bringing him his breakfast.
Okay.
I remember if we said that Pebble was in there, also keeping guard, and you're the only one allowed in the room.
Yep.
You and Tin Man, but Pebble can't hurt Tin Man, so
Tin Man can't climb the ladder, so...
that's fair too.
Tin Man would have difficulty with it. You probably wouldn't have ever tried to see if Tin Man could, unless you wanted to see if they could try to do it now. Just simply because of their unusual design, the legs more likely to wear away at the rope. But they do have 3 arms, so it's possible.
I mean, historically, I probably made Tin Man try while I was completely wasted.
Okay. In that case, then they would be able to, but you would know that their attempt to do so with the way that they're designed would definitely put some wear on the ropes, which might not be the best for other people climbing afterward. But if you were in a pinch and, say, needed Tin Man to follow you climbing to somewhere, they could do that.
Either way, I myself am going to climb up there with Blake covered in tin foil and not making it loud about it because we're trying not to show where he is. Just pop my head up. Hey, Twaker.
Yeah.
I made us some burgers. Got some cheese, lettuce, tomato. I don't know what else you like, so I just kind of put a whole bunch on the side of ketchup and mustard and stuff.
Thanks. You can see they didn't get the best sleep, considering how injured they were previously. Still recovering, but at least they haven't injured themselves more in the process of trying to rest.
I also hand them a little leather notebook and a pencil and a pen and just, hey, so when you're up to it, start writing out what you know happened and any history about how this explosive nature happened. I'm trying not to spend too much time up here, otherwise I'd be asking you personally. So, Elidon will be back soon. Don't worry, they'll cuddle you real fast.
Okay. There's kind of just a blink and stare at your last comment, but they do take the offered notebook and they gave a little nod.
We like you around here. Don't go dying on us. Just stay up here and hidden. I just start climbing down. I'm not waiting for a thank you or a surprise. I have stated how I consider you. Goodbye.
Okay. They would thank you. They do have a heavily groggy experience of being woken up when you had gone up. Not like immediately defensive kind of posture or anything like that, but clearly they were not trying to get up at any set time and just taking what sleep they could get in their current state. So, but they did say that they would write down what they could remember when they were able to do so, being still too tired at present. But they will do that, and we will have the opportunity to check back later.
Alright. Meantime, I let S.H.I.E.L.D. know I'm going to be out for a bit, because so far they proved me the most combat-capable, loyal person. That I got to go out and check on Thornton and stuff. Or not. Or whatever. You said I have to go check on them, so I assume that's what I have to do.
It would probably be for the best if you did.
Yeah, okay, so let S.H.I.E.L.D. know, hey, I'm headed out to go take care of some work. Expect me around this time. If I'm not, let L know when they get there that I've been gone for X amount of time. And my last known location was here. Like, just the standard precautionary.
Alright. And I'll have you go ahead and make a check, using whatever skills you feel would be applicable, to traverse around both communities and see what you can find out.
Let's see, what do I have points in? I have... Study doesn't work, because that's not studying people, that's books. I know reason and judge could be two good ones. Right?
Those could apply, yes.
Otherwise, I got induce and induction. Those are the four that come to mind.
Okay. Reason could work for interacting with people, explaining enough of the situation to get them to open up. Judge to see if they're telling you the truth, and induction, making inferences and things like that. Induce would be if you wanted to use a freeform ability, but just depend on you on how you want to go about it. Could also just use simple observation, things like that as you're checking through.
I mean, I want to work on some of my lower skills, so I'm going to go judge and reason.
Okay. So go ahead and roll on that.
Uh, 10, 5, 3, 2. So that would be 15. Now I'm willing to throw luck at that to turn that into a straight success.
Okay.
Where did that go? And a 6. So, wow, my brain just didn't math. 15 plus 6, 21.
Okay. Well, that would be a straight success. But you are able to gain a +1 judge, +1 reason, and +1 traversal. As you are also traveling through the communities in addition to your talking with people. You are able to find that there doesn't appear to be any signs of any people missing or any breaches, damage that's unexpected in the communities. However, you do hear from a few people that they have had one who's missing a horse, and a couple of people who had outdoor cat or dog that are not in their yard. Not people who specifically had any sort of a fence up to prevent a dog from getting out, and a cat would be able to find a way anyways, but it does appear that them being used to letting their animals just wander, they did not return in the night.
Yeah, that happens. So, nothing too alarming. I could deduce that it's getting into animals, but I haven't seen enough evidence to necessarily come to that conclusion.
You think that it's quite possible that they may have, or it's possible that because they were able to get loose, that they just simply fled because they smelled something that was bad enough that they took the opportunity to flee, and did not try to get their owners if they were independent enough that they didn't care.
All right. Doing
The
my usual
horse-
swing by, gather metal and whatever else places have spare while I'm checking on people. Gotta load up my cart.
The horse at least would leave enough tracks that you could tell it at least got to the highway on its own, and didn't run into the woods or something like that. But once it gets to the highway with the asphalt and such like that, there's no way of really tracking it further at present. So,
Yeah.
all right. And with that, you are able to get people started up again once they're awake and out and about on continuing to create more of the post alarms and setting them up. So, And we will switch back over to Elidon on their second day of travel. So, Elidon, your efforts to navigate them through the fastest route that you can take may potentially be slightly lessened if you are continuing to hold the prisoner by the rope when you go up to check ahead. So are you going to not fly as high to check, or have somebody else hold the rope temporarily when you choose to do so?
I will have someone else hold the rope.
Okay.
Preferably whoever the fuck it was that tied him up to begin with.
Okay. That did appear to be a group effort.
True, but I mean, there's always that one who, like, had the initial idea. Whoever the initial one was, that's who I give it to.
Right. I'm just saying that at least you do have enough people who are willing to do so and don't complain or wonder why. So,
Yeah.
With that, you won't have any disadvantages affecting your checks. You can go ahead and make a check to see how much further progress you are able to make. The ground off of the highway itself is a little bit slick and saturated from the rain that did happen, but it is still traversable as long as they aren't navigating into slopes that are too slippery or anything like that. The highway itself being how it is, that's not going to be an issue if staying on that, but it might not be the fastest route.
Okay, so observation is still a good one to use. We'll go with plus 3d10. Okay. So a 10, 10 and a 1.
Okay, it's a good straight success and plus 2 luck and plus 1 jinx. So I'll give you another plus 1 progress observation, plus 1 progress traversal. And you are able to see that following the highway would get you back at the estimated time, which would be in the early morning the next day. After taking a watch, or you can force march, which may cause them to be more exhausted, but get there before it hits sunrise. But doing so would be pushing them, and it would take some time crossing through some wooded areas where you can't fully see through the canopy what may or may not be below. You do know at least you are north of Thornton and not in the area that you had encountered the Headless Ones previously. So you're unlikely to be encountering them, but do not know if there may be other dangers. So, what would your route be?
I think Elidon will choose to march on even during the night just to get there faster. while, I mean, they would do that as well as tell them that the plan. Elidon has respect for these guys, so they're not gonna be like just doing this without letting them know. But yeah, Elidon's just gonna be like almost there.
Okay.
No more breaks, yes, but not stopping to sleep. Sleep when we get there.
Okay. So, are you sticking to the highway but faster march, or are you march but off highway? Because that'll make differences on the timing.
On the highway.
Okay.
I have returned.
Alright, and you do not have any complications from weather or anything else that you are able to find along the highway. So you will be arriving after the sun is set, but despite the weariness, nobody is gaining an exhaustion. So they will be able to arrive just a couple hours after sunset. All right, and then we will switch back to Oppenheimer. And you are able to make good progress as things are progressing with the post-alarm system. And eventually, the sun starts setting and work is slowing down as people are having difficulty being able to see. And nobody spots anything unusual to report. So you are able to choose whether or not to stay up for a watch or get some full rest without taking one, or if you are going to do anything else prior to rest, now would be the time to do so.
Just reloading ammunition.
Okay.
I haven't really had time to sit down and do that yet, so seems like a good time to do it.
All right. In that
Making
particular
my
case,
pokey crystals, making ammunition, that kind of thing.
in that particular case, if you have anything on the expend tracker, let me know what you currently have for it.
Let's see, where did I put that? Locked that. Right. Encumbrance. Fences. Oh, here you are. I have 2 on the expend.
Okay. So let's go ahead and have you make a just standard 2d10 check. And we'll say that if you get any sort of success, you can clear one off. And if you get a success with bonus, you can clear both off. And we'll have you roll that twice, since you had said you were going to be doing that earlier the previous day as well, but I didn't have you roll at that time.
10 and a 9. So 19.
Okay. So you can remove 1 from your expend tracker for that one, and you gain another luck. And then let's have you roll the other one for this day, since you would do that.
And 10 and a 10. Okay. So I'm really good at reloading.
Well, you have the time to fill new shells and bullets and things like that. You would have the sort of supplies to do that. Checking with the general store, the fact that you have dispensation to just simply sign paperwork and you'll get paid back later, that sort of thing. That's why you didn't have any disadvantages or any, boost or anything to it. It's just a matter of making sure you double-checked everything and did so. But
so are these posts cost me any resources? Like somatic or folky or whatever?
The ammo itself is just your standard expend tracker on whether or not you run out of something when you may need it at a later point. This would not be specifically your unstable folky, just because that specifically requires a crafting check to create them at the time that you do make them, which you have done previously. But you do have the expend tracker, which also deals with just general ammunition or other things in general to wear down what you have available.
Well, I was wondering about making the detection posts.
Yes, those would be Cygnus. So you'd have another
So that's supposed
+3
to
on
cost
Cygnus.
me when I do it.
Well, yes, but you are able to recover that easily, since you're not in a situation where you have to drain it fast. Plus, you have the Henosis source, so you can work with others to use some of their source pool in addition to your Henosis. So that significantly reduces how much that it would be otherwise.
So does interaction or Cygnus gain any points for making these posts?
I will say you will have another +3 on interaction, and +3 for Henosis, and +3 for Cygnus for your progress on them.
Okay.
Don't need to reduce your source points in any of them, since you're just refilling them again afterward.
And 20 was the cap on sources, right?
20 is the cap on everything except for the attributes and statistics, giving you a additional training point. So if you have hit 20 points, then you will increase your source pool amount, so you can hold more source points, and also gain a point for training opportunities.
Okay, so I have 1 rank in Cygnus now that I have gained 20 in it. Correct?
Okay, 1 second. Did you have Cygnus as a source known? Or were you learning it at the time? Okay. So, yes, that would mean that you have +1 rank in it, and that does mean that your source pool for Cygnus would change
to 22, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure all the little numbers are moving correctly.
Yeah, on the copy you have here, the points and ranks hadn't been filled in that I had been looking at. I think that was the one that was prepared for Wasted, but it had all the calculation stuff. So I was double checking that. But yeah, so you should be at rank 2 in it since you have it known already, plus that. So yeah, that should be 22.
Oh, I didn't realize unlocked meant I had a rank in it.
Well, yeah, you have 1 rank in it because you have gained it.
Oh.
Whereas if you're earning progress in it but don't have it unlocked, you don't have a an easily refillable source points. You have just when somebody helps you to be able to do it. That's why getting a source known or a domain known helps significantly. Like domain known, when you have that, you have 1 domain control, which gives a +1 of that particular domain to related checks.
All right, I have that updated.
Okay. So, with that, you'll also gain 1 training point.
1 training point. Oh, there you go. Yep.
1 training trait point means that you will be able to invest that toward new trait possibilities, or bank it for now and use it at a later point. Something to consider between sessions, what you choose to do with that.
I will bank it for further consideration.
Okay. All right, and as you go through the end of the day spent dealing with all of that, are you going to be taking first, second, third, or no watch?
Let's see, D6. I'm taking first watch.
Okay. So then about halfway into your watch, Elidon and the prisoners would arrive.
All right. I'm sitting on the high point of a barn, kind of like a hunting stand, just looking at everything. Periodically riding my horse around to scout and make sure everything's good, and making sure everyone goes to bed alive and healthy.
Would it be fair to say that Al and Open have like a secret code amongst themselves to let them know that it's them coming back?
That'd be a very, very good idea to have, considering my tendency to shoot things.
Exactly.
I would say that you definitely would have something like, for example, to say, hey, I'm not being controlled or held hostage, that you can easily do, vocally or visually. As far as coming in the middle of the night, are you trying to use a light or something else to signal that, since until you get close enough that you're within the, area where there's going to be lights casting off on you, it may be difficult to know who or what is on the highway. He knows to expect you tomorrow, but...
Would it be fair to say that, like, Elidon knows how to make some sort of, like, animal call that they
I
have
mean, you
just...
could always give a sharp whistle within a certain pattern.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that. So yeah, they would probably just put out a really loud, the sharp whistle call, so you know it was them.
Okay. And yes, you are able to easily use a particular bird whistle that would definitely not be making sound at night, and also in a pattern that is slightly different from how the animal itself would sound, that the average layperson might not as easily identify as incorrect. Just to make it clear that it is you. So Oppenheimer is made aware that you have returned before your visible returned with the prisoners, including one that is being brought along, still tied to the rope.
Considering that I've been studying nature around here a lot, that is the perfect way to do it.
Definitely just run up. You're like, oh, the fuck! Why? Do I want to?
I don't question why with you. You are a chaotic, stealthy munchkin. I just go, all right, Elle is doing something now. Crap.
Ella's into weird things. We don't question this.
Well, I mean, it would, as you had said, a signal that you guys had devised for each other. So, while
I know,
Oppenheimer,
we're talking about the fact that there's someone tied in player room.
yeah, I was going to say, while not expecting you to be arriving so soon, at least knowing that it is indeed Elidon, and by the time that Elidon and the others are in enough light to see them properly, that's when Oppenheimer would know that is happening, but still a far enough distance away that unless you're shouting and waking people up, it would be more of a saying to yourself kind of thing. Just because the highway does allow enough moonlight to spot them before they get close to the barn.
I'm also going to use the scope of my rifle as they approach to get a gist of what's going on.
Well, you aren't able to get very strong details with the moonlight, but you are able to at least make out that Elidon's leading the way, dragging somebody along, everybody else is following without being dragged, and just not very fast movement, but at least steady.
Alright. Gonna climb down, grab the flask I built for Elidon, and just... I have the shotgun on my arm, rifle on my back, and I believe at some point I was able to make a simplistic shield. More or less just armor. I forget if I actually got to finish making that or not, but
It certainly
I don't know what's going on.
It certainly wouldn't be that hard to make something that would give you just, like a +1 essentially, like the log that you had used previously. So I would say that that's not...
Like, I have a plan for a fancy shield, I just currently don't remember if I finished it.
Yeah, no, you hadn't specifically done further checks on that as far as I'm aware, but you do have the means to at least, grab like a trash can lid or whatever else just to have something just in case. But when Elidon approaches and meets you, you're able to see that, like, the prisoners are way too tired to be trying to do anything, even if they wanted to. Unlike Elidon, who could fly, who does look a little tired, but not as exhausted as those who've had to walk while, carrying bags along.
As they approach, I just go, "See any horses or cats around?"
No.
Yeah, someone's missing a horse. The old lady's missing her cat.
Elidon just gives you the rope. Troublemaker. Deal with.
Alright,
And then, and then we'll just direct the others to the sleeping, to like where they can go to bed.
I imagine I have like a second barn, but it's not shielded. It's not like secured. It's an old structure I reinforced enough for people to sleep in.
Well, they do have tents and things of that nature. So you hadn't previously discussed a second barn, but I would say that you would have the space to have work begin on it.
That's what I thought we were initially building, like
Well,
living quarters for people.
Right. You were having them clear rocks and dirt and other things of that nature, but you didn't have a second structure built yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's been a little bit.
Yeah. No. With the fact that you have people already chopping trees, making posts and things of that sort, you certainly can use this as the opportunity, especially with the workforce of all the prisoners you've now gained, to say, hey, we're just chopping a whole bunch of trees that are adjacent to the yard that you already have, and we're starting to build it now. So like tomorrow, if they're skilled enough or organized enough, that's possible. They could just simply build it, because people back in the day used to just be able to put together a barn in a day. So they've cleared enough that that's feasible now. It is just that you'd have to go to the general store and just say, hey, we need a whole bunch of nails and rope to be able to help lift things and stuff like that.
I write a quick note about the materials I'll need for a decent-sized barn that can be turned into there's a general quarters to eat food, and then if you go up to the upper area, that's where you sleep, or, whatever layout I decide. Either way, I need these materials. Write them down and go, tomorrow, going to town. Ask about any uncertain or questionable events, and get me these materials.
Okay. So for now, they are able to set up tents, and more or less just once they have them set up, 3 of them at a time, just go inside, collapse, and just go to sleep. The little shit can either be released or still tied up. However, there are plenty of tents that they could be thrown under with others, unless you wanted to keep them closer under observation elsewhere.
First, I'm going to... Mind you, I look like a Rob Zombie horror film redneck. So I just kind of, after that, what'd you do?
There's just this kind of not glare, but just stare looking at you like they're dumbfounded, but just stare for a bit and then avert their eyes. Tried to wander off. They don't. They try getting away with not saying anything further than that, but Elidon and other prisoners are present to see whether or not they need to force them to say more or say anything else, depending on if you press for more.
Elidon just stands there. Just kind of being like, that's it? That's all you're gonna say?
Look, I know L. L ties people up for a lot of things. I have been a victim of that before. And I've done it a lot worse. And ain't been tied up. Meantime, here's your flask. Hand you a flask with a Poke Crystal on it.
Thanks.
It's supposed to make you move faster. I don't remember the side effects. Anyways, so you tried to run away, and now you're tied up and force marched. Don't seem right.
Not at all.
They kind of look like they're about to say something and hesitate, then just stop themselves, and one of the other prisoners gives them a little nudge and says, they tried to, after doing their watch, already having delayed us by trying to slip off and passing out, to climb the tree that your agent was sleeping in and go up to tie them up. But we weren't having any of that after already having to backtrack to go and get the little dumb shit. So we tied them up instead.
So you thought you tried to outsmart folk by trying to kidnap an agent. Am I getting that right?
Told that pass out if we go away from them. Found out that was true, so I was gonna just go far enough until I could get this removed.
Oh,
yeah,
I
and
show
leave
my
the rest
own
of us all
tattoos.
unconscious where you were.
Show my own tattoo of the mark that all workers have. You know, I used to be one of you. I know for a fact that ain't gonna work. Do you know why?
They exhale and just say, I don't see why it wouldn't have worked to just drag along the agent if they were the ones we had to stay close to. We kept them fed and given them water and such, but found somebody to get this damn thing off.
That there is marked on you using very potent methods. I don't know all of them. I ain't a tattooologist. What I do know is all agents can turn off their maintaining you. So all it takes for them to realize is you're trying to pull something, then everyone around them falls down. Now out here with the bears and wolves, you might not make it. It wouldn't be our problem.
I feel like we also would have been like, Hal also would have just killed you.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing how he reacts to information before I start threatening him.
That's fair.
Be a bit hard for them to do that if they were restrained, I would think. And then the other prisoner who had nudged them just thwacks the back of their head and says, and as they said, they would have just rendered the rest of us unconscious, and we would have probably been picked off. So of course we weren't going to let you kill the rest of us.
How much you know about this here work program? I mean, aside from the air in your head and the two brain cells fighting for third place.
I hadn't been in the prison for long, so I didn't get much information other than a work release program to possibly get out. So I took the opportunity. Some of the others around are just groaning. It's like, essentially, a lot of them had assumed that they had just been a transfer from somewhere else and didn't know they were that new to the prison system.
In that case, I will do something I rarely ever do. I'm explain shit to you. This here is a work release program where, assuming you have good behavior, you get out and part of your criminal record gets redeemed. Yeah, it still follows you, but it's much less than it would normally be. All of us agents, we are trained in some way, shape, or form to be able to handle your bullshit. And in my situation, how I handle it, you're going to want to pay attention to. You see, this here magical happy farm has its own form of security, in the form of there ain't a town nearby enough for you to run to. And also, the wildlife around here gets real hungry and real happy if I don't keep them in bay. Lastly, I am what people call asshole's last chance. You come here because it's on me to decide how much is left on your time. I don't track my time. I track by how hard you work and how much you get done. So I could keep you here for 5 years. 10 years, don't matter. Not until I say you're done. So if you're here, you've done enough in past programs for them to think there's a chance that you'd be good. But from the sounds of it, you were good in prison only because it kept you safe, and now that you're out, you thought you'd try to be smart and get away, thus, destroying your reputation as a good, decent worker. And if that is the case, one letter or whatever the hell from me, and you're never leaving that prison again on this program. Any questions?
I've just been in the prison about a month. I don't know shit about any of this nonsense, and some sheriff coming and rounding us up in order to bring us off the middle of bumfuck nowhere. Wouldn't you have wanted to just slip off if you thought you could get away?
Slip off? Yeah, absolutely. Try that a few times myself.
Well, I tried that first and
trying to
passed
get
out. Well, I tried that first and I passed out. I realized that the voodoo, whatever nonsense is, brand is, was real. Got to stay close to bug person there. So I tried walking off with him.
See, that's the problem. You tried kidnapping. Number one. Number two, don't you ever refer to Elle as that bug person. I can't control what they do to you in your sleep. And if I find out that a wild animal got into your tent, fuck. That's an easy letter from me.
I didn't know what their name is, so I'm not supposed to call them anything else.
Ask?
We're told to just start walking.
So you don't have any independent thought. You don't have common sense about how to handle a criminal situation. Because if you're going to do dumb shit like that, you at least got to be smart about it.
I thought walking off with them
What are you
was
gonna do when you
smarter
got
than
away?
just waiting. Find somebody to do tattoo
So you
removal.
get away carrying L, and then someone goes, "Who was your supervisor?" And you can't tell anyone, and you have no one around except for some as you say, bug person tied up. Think this through. How do you process that?
I would just found somebody to remove the brand, change it, find out, how far can I walk off from them with them tied up without passing out, and make sure that they're somewhere where I can, feel if I'm getting woozy and back up. Once I'm able to walk further than that, then I can go back and let them loose. Wasn't planning on hurting them, I just wanted to get away.
I get that. I do. Like I said, I was in the program myself. But you're turning a slap on the wrist punishment into life. You understand that?
I was going to be in there for life if I hadn't been put into this program. So, all what would happen is what? I'm not out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, going to be possibly eaten by wolves or whatever. Or I go back to prison.
So you'd rather give up your chance of freedom all because, what? You don't like how you're walking so much?
All we're being told is we're being marched somewhere else. Don't know what the fuck we're doing. The sheriff just told us enough to know that somebody was coming to get us. At least me.
I get that. But if you do good work here, life turns into only so many years, and I can keep you here working until you're free.
As far as I know, we're just
try to fuck around.
As far as I know, we're just being marched out to a clear room in the prison, forced to work for something like dig our own graves in the middle of nowhere. Maybe I wasn't thinking through with missing information, but figured it better to break away as soon as I had the opportunity.
Well, you have to stay on this here property. You leave the property line, too bad. Regardless of anyone else here. Now, I have rules here. You don't go in my barn. This is not because I have something I don't want you to take. That's because you'll probably die, and then I'll have to write you off as an accident.
John smirks at that. May have a really... They have a gleam in their eye as they hold up a dagger.
See, I could make a lot of explosives and weapons. I have no problem arming my prisoners if it means self-defense. But you go in that barn, you might knock something over, setting off an explosion in an entire room, leaving you a pink mist. Or you can work hard for me. You get out, and I make sure you're unfireable. You will have skills to make yourself the best worker that no one can do anything about. But if you want to keep trying your sketchy shit, I have a rifle, I have a shotgun, and they have knives. None of it's going to go well for you.
What kind of work are we going to be put on?
Logging, digging, farming, building structures, pouring concrete, wiring.
Why the fuck are we being marched all the way out here? We could have done any of that in any of the communities we passed through.
Because I got big projects and I need more workers.
That's it. There's literally no reason other than just you're the closest that needed workers?
As far as you're concerned, yeah.
Well, shit. If I'd known that, I wouldn't have bloody tried to sneak away.
So do we have an understanding? Because I don't want to have this conversation again. If I do, I will put you on the shittiest jobs I can find and work you like a horse. No offense, Brandy.
As long as you don't put me in anything too dangerous, then yeah, I guess I can do that. In case you...
I look around at the woods, the lack of walls, the lack of guards, the far away from every town, just kind of, in a way, referencing that so they can look around and realize just how empty this place is and look back. Everything's dangerous around here.
Well, I get that, but the entire reason I was in prison in the first place is because the ATF got me.
Not so quietly to El. What's the ATF?
They just shrug their shoulders.
As there doesn't seem to be any sort of recognition from either or further questions, say, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, regulate it in the country?
Oh, them fuckers got me too.
Yeah, well, in my particular case, it was creating a sizable quantity of unregulated explosive and incendiary devices for sale to other individuals, unauthorized.
As he says that, I pull out one of my hand grenades, look at it, hold up my gun I made, look back at my other gun I made. More things on me that are very clearly explosive. Sir, I like you. As far as the drugs and the guns, heck yeah. But when it comes to the alcohol, Tin Man!
Okay. As you call out, Tin Man would eventually start maneuvering out of the barn. The little shit would say, well, I am sort of a dumbass, I suppose, but I can do work when I get put to it, so I'll make up for it eventually, and guess I will have a whole lot of rightfully angry glares at me for a while until I make up for stupidity. Ignorance is no excuse of the law and all that.
Oh, I don't care about the law. Out here, we're away from everything.
Well,
I don't
you
mean
are, you and the other prisoners are a law of yourself. You may not be the law as far as ATF or police or whatever else, but you have an organization that you are working under, and you have the assorted restrictions of what we're allowed to do or not do, and how far we can travel away from you. So that is a law in and of itself. So,
I give him a long look for a moment. Oh, you're one of them philosophy majors.
I read from the local library. Never got no college.
Either way, I am, well, I guess, in your way of putting it. But as long as you prove your worth, I'll give you more freedoms around here. The big thing right now is you got to get Elle and the other prisoners to be on your side, because I like proactivity. And as long as I know that you won't be a prom, fuck, you get the work done. There's still booze in the evening.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, do I not? So, is this speech done? Do I have to explain more things to you?
I think anything else can wait until we all get some rest. If I'm able to be untied, I can assist with setting up tents instead of being under watch. I won't run off. Clearly a stupid decision on my part.
All right. I look around. Who was some of the people who kept him in check?
Elidon's able to point out a couple of them and a couple others who raise their hands as well.
Y'all are going to be right near each other. He has yet to earn my trust. He has only broken it already. So, keep him safe. Tomorrow we're going to have a meeting. We're going to work out who does what. Till then, just don't make me have to dig a new hole.
Alright. There's a few firm nods and some murmurs of agreement, and if Elidon will allow it, they will help untie the prisoner.
Elidon is definitely gonna... will help take it off, but only after giving them the dirtiest side-eye look. Like, they're just so angry at this person.
Like I said, they have to earn your apology or whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no. And the Elidon just kind of looks at them and just roughly takes the rope back. But just like is evil glaring at them the entire time.
Yeah. They don't.
I'd also like to say the entire time anyone called them a bug person, you could hear Elle's wings just flutter in agitation.
They don't shrink from your glare. Rub their wrists a little bit, getting the circulation going, and they give a nod toward Oppenheimer and then toward Elidon and said, "My apologies, sir or madame, or whatever you prefer to be called. I was foolish, didn't ask for clarification, and clearly made some dumb decisions. I understand that forgiveness will not come quickly or easily, but I hope that I can work to rectify my mistakes." I heard you were called Elle by that one, but I don't know if that is a shortening of endearment, so what would you want me to call you? My apologies, Elidon, for my poor descriptor and poor behavior. And anything else, that was not immediately coming to mind that I have not yet apologized for.
All I can think of is he talks way too fancy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
not already doesn't like him, so it's fine. But like, again, Elle's just kind of weary of him, but also is all tired. Is looking more forward to a certain checking on a certain person than anything else. But yeah, no, as long as that interaction is done, Elidon will take the rest of the people. I'm not for sure if Open still wants to deal with Shithead more before I take.
I got enough information to him that I'm hoping he won't be a problem, because if he's a problem again, I have to dig a hole. That's a lot of work.
okay. So
Tin Man.
they do, as I said, apologize and attempt to at least address you by the correct name and call Oppenheimer Sir, whether or not Oppenheimer appreciates that or not, as far as title-wise. But they do eventually, after the little discussion, give their name as Percival Harker.
Oh God.
I just narrow my eyes with the... Talks fancy, fancy name. God damn, am I gonna work him hard.
Alright. Well, with that, Tin Man is able to come out and start giving drinks to those who would appreciate them, and everybody is able to start setting up their tents. Percival going out of his way to get aid offered to anybody who is willing to accept it. At least a few of the prisoners still holding a grudge, for obvious reasons. Some who didn't entirely pay close enough attention to know who was the dumbass who had, caused problems, since they were, a mass of different people. But some accepting aid and some delaying a bit before accepting it due to some difficulties in getting their tents set up. But eventually everything is able to wind down, and with that, Oppenheimer would be able to easily get enough of a rest that I will have you just make 2 recovery checks, but as long as you get anything other than a straight failure or lower on both, your 1 mark will go away.
7 and a 5. 12.
Which is a success at cost, so you won't even need to roll the other one. You are cleared of all penalties, so all 3 of you currently are without any. And I know we had the possibility of going later if we chose to do so, but I feel that that is a suitable place to leave off, to not get too far ahead, and also that main goals of getting everybody gathered back together and progress made have been accomplished. Unless there's anything else that you 2 would like to do before we end the session off.
Well, I know you wanted to check on Tweaker.
We can certainly roll that in. They would be sleeping at this time, but Elidon can look over them to see how they're doing.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Hi, yes, okay.
So, are you going to use any particular skill that you're training while looking them over?
No. Right, no. I think it would just be the overall cursory glance, making sure that they are still breathing, and probably see if there's like anything to symbolize that they've at least awoken since they've been gone. Other than that, no.
All right. So I will say that we'll just give you a +1 for first aid progress, because what you're looking for is so small that you'd have enough advantages that you'd have to roll extraordinarily bad to get a failure at this, since you can easily see that they have at least shifted since when you had left them a couple of 4 days ago, and that they also have a notebook and pen, which is near them. You are able to see that they have not yet written into the notebook yet.
Okay. Yeah, Elidon just kind of maneuvers their way into the, not into the bed, probably into a corner by the door to finally sleep.
Alright. And then you are able to get some proper sleep and be able to rest properly now that you have gotten everybody back to the barn and the area outside of it. And we will leave the session off with that. And
Has family written me at all?
they have not today, no.
Well, then part of my normal check-in, I kind of comment of, haven't heard from you, miss you, I'd love to hear updates, like just the standard, you haven't called in a while message.
Okay.
Mom, love me. Give me love.
Whole point of this character is he's on very good terms with his family, so logically, I haven't heard from you in a while.
I know, it's really funny. She'd be like, but Mom, I need you. Where is you?
Ma, you're told to write me. Granny told you to.
Okay. So,
Where is my love? Where is my mom?
it is the middle of the night, so you may possibly hear a reply at some point in the next day in the game. But we will find out what, if anything, you do hear at that point when next we play. So,
Yep.
unless there's anything else, we will end the session off and end the broadcast and figure out scheduling for the next one after that and catch everybody listening on the flip side.